10 volcanoes that could destroy the world. But first, thanks Sky Wetmore for appreciating the research we put into our 13 shocking effects of pollution video. We hope we can teach you a few new things about the mega volcanoes on Earth. Number 10. Mount Tambora. An eruption from a supervolcano would be more powerful than 1 million atomic bombs and bring mind-boggling amounts of destruction across the world. And it's not really a matter of if, but when. Some even believe that it was a volcano that brought an end to the dinosaurs and not an asteroid. A series of eruptions from Mount Tambora started in 1812, but a catastrophic eruption in 1815 gave this year the nickname the Year Without a Summer. The eruption spewed so much gas and ash into the sky that it actually managed to change Earth's climate. Located in Indonesia, this volcano is highly active, and when it erupted, the world experienced snow polluted with ash. It caused tsunamis and earthquakes in surrounding countries. It's part of a chain of volcanoes located in the southern Pacific known as the Ring of Fire. The death toll from the explosion was at least 71,000 people, and mainly attributed to starvation due to all the crops it eradicated. Archaeological evidence indicated that this explosion wiped out an entire culture of people on the Sumbawa island. We can only hope an explosion even bigger won't happen in this lifetime. Number 9. Mount Paktu. It's not just North Korea's military and leader we need to worry about bringing an end to the world. They're home to a supervolcano that could destroy us all. Located on the border of North Korea and China, Mount Paktu reaches a height of 9,003 feet. It was also the site of what's been dubbed the Millennium Eruption, for it being the biggest of all eruptions in the past millennium. Powerful tremors created by North Korean weapons testing could set off another catastrophic eruption that this volcano is certainly capable of. Not too long ago, North Koreans triggered earthquakes that were even felt as far away as South Korea. Disturbing the seismic activity could potentially be enough to wake up this sleeping dragon and bring on an international disaster. Due to some rumbling in the 2000s, North Korea actually asked for help from international scientists to survey the magma and lava flow beneath its surface. Number 8. Mount Rainier. What might appear to be a beautiful mountain in the state of Washington is actually an active volcano that could potentially destroy the world. It's known to be the location of numerous explosions within the past 500,000 years. Its last explosion was in 1894 when just minor eruptions were reported. Due to its sheer size, it's easily big enough to produce massive amounts of ash to begin whirling around in our atmosphere. Don't forget about the massive avalanches that would begin with the initial eruption. Volcanoes that erupt through ice create what's known as lahars, or basically melted mud flow of volcanic sludge capable of destroying anything in its path and flooding entire cities. This is basically a mixture of melted snow and ash. The U.S. Geological Survey shows that Mount Rainier is one of the nation's most dangerous volcanoes, and even the slightest eruption could bring on massive amounts of destruction. And don't forget about the panic of the highly populated areas of Seattle and Vancouver. They also state that this volcano is certainly capable of exploding with little to no warning, so watch out. Number 7. Katla Volcano. Basically, in more or less words, volcanoes erupt due to internal heat and pressure within the Earth's crust. If there's enough pressure to shoot through the surface, this will cause an eruption. Iceland gets the nickname of Land of Fire and Ice for good reason. There's over 30 active volcanoes on this island that you can see in this map from the USGS. The two volcanoes, Katla and the one next to it, are only separated by about 17 miles, and are both connected by the same magma channels. This means if one goes off, the internal heat and pressure should be great enough to cause both to explode. Its sister volcano, that has a very hard name to pronounce, exploded in 2010, putting many into fear that the much bigger volcano, Katla, is far overdue for an eruption. Here is the colored version of a photo taken in 1918 of a Katla eruption. It doesn't possess the capabilities of a supervolcano, but a global destruction of crops seems likely. Ash would travel by air and seriously affect the world's economy. Geologists are closely monitoring it for fear that it'll erupt in the future. Number 6. Taupo Supervolcano. This enormous volcano, sitting on New Zealand's North Island, has produced two of the world's most violent eruptions in recent geological history, and it's just a matter of time before it happens again. This active volcano began erupting 300,000 years ago, and within the past 10,000 years, there's been a major eruption roughly every 1,000. The last one happened 1,800 years ago, meaning it's certainly overdue. What makes this particular volcano even more deadly is due to the fact that its magma is rhyolitic, meaning the lava is much thicker, very explosive, and filled with gas. This is due to its high silica content, and its eruptions can be quite violent. The supervolcano's unrest can be recorded back to 1870, which is usually a sign. The crater is currently filled by a lake, but this wouldn't be enough to slow it down by any means. Number 5. Mount Kilauea. This volcano in Hawaii is the world's most active volcano and has been steadily erupting since 1983. The summit has rose to its highest peak in the past 42 years. Here in this photo, you see a pool of lava that almost appears to be the pits of hell. This pool also has risen to its highest level and is an estimated 16 feet deep. The lava flow seems to creep up on unsuspecting locals on Hawaii's Big Island, and in the 1990s, it destroyed over 200 homes. Officials say there's nothing to worry about, and this volcano doesn't have the potential to affect people's planned surfing or hanging out on the beach. But considering how active this volcano is, if there's enough pressure underground, this thing could cause some serious damage. Number 4. Cumbre Vieja. While most people are soaking up the sun in the Canary Islands, they might not always realize there's a volcano here that could cause the end of the world. Scientists theorized in 2001 that the entire western half of the volcano could potentially fall off into the ocean and create a mega tsunami. The Cumbre Vieja would create an extraordinary wave like we've never experienced before and spread like we see in this photo. The initial wave would be 2,100 feet in the air and a wavelength of 15 miles. It would travel across the Atlantic Ocean at speeds approximately 450 miles an hour, destroying anything in its path. It could potentially wipe out all of Florida, the Caribbean, the eastern coast of Brazil, and western Europe. By the time it reaches the coast, the waves would be at least 160 feet tall. People might only have about 7.5 hours to respond to this mega tsunami, causing mass panic. Massive flooding would take place in major cities like New York, Sao Paulo, and Miami. The globe would certainly need to be redesigned if this ever took place. Scientists say there's a possibility of this happening each year. Number 3. Mount Vesuvius. We're all familiar with Mount Vesuvius as being the volcano that destroyed the city of Pompeii in 79 AD. But in modern times, this volcano is certainly capable of causing more destruction. With about 3 million people in Italy living near the volcano, and 300,000 of them living in the red zone, it's certainly the most dangerous volcano in all of Europe. It's only 7.5 miles away from the city of downtown Naples. Take a look at it on Google Maps and you'll notice it's basically surrounded by people and houses. Scientists also claim that this active volcano is much overdue for an explosion. About 2 millennia ago, we saw it plaster people into human statues. Who's to say this won't happen again? And what kind of devastation would that eruption have caused if it were to happen now? Number 2. Popocatépetl. This massive volcano is the third tallest active volcano in the world, and it's only 40 miles from the capital of Mexico, where nearly 18 million people call home. It just seems like a disaster waiting to happen. After 80 years of being dormant, its last large explosion was in year 2000, causing tens of thousands of people to relocate. This is also capable of melting large amounts of snow and creating enormous mudslides into the cities below. With the peak reaching 17,802 feet, it certainly has a lot of ice it can melt. Recently, in March 2016, an ash column reached over 6,000 feet, then it spewed lava a month later. With a larger explosion, it could certainly cause a catastrophic loss of life, if not an apocalypse. At number 1, Yellowstone supervolcano. On our own American soil lies a supervolcano capable of bringing on the apocalypse with ease. Yellowstone was America's first national park, but a ticking time bomb lies beneath the soil that could go off at any moment. This supervolcano typically goes off every 600,000 years. It's been 640,000 years since its last eruption. A giant lake of lava the size of Mount Everest sits under Wyoming, Montana, and Idaho, just waiting to see the light of day. The caldera of this volcano is about the size of Los Angeles. This could potentially wipe out the western United States, leaving us with 30 states instead of 50. Imagine the Mount St. Helens eruption, but only 10 times larger. This would then trigger other seismic events, causing earthquakes and volcanic eruptions around the world. The entire Earth could be consumed with toxic ash and gases. Temperatures plunge, agriculture ultimately fails, bringing on the apocalypse.